Okay, so Bandcamp has a special account type for record labels. So you have like your normal free Bandcamp account for fans, for music fans who buy music, and then you have a normal free account for artists. If you're artists who want to post your music on Bandcamp, and then an artist can get a pro account, which is like $10 a month and lets them do some special features. And then the highest tier is a Bandcamp label account, which at the time of recording this is about $20 a month. So I want to give you a walkthrough of what that looks like, because you may not know if you want to convert your artist account into a label account, because that process is permanent. So you may not know if you want to do that. And you may not know if you want to pay the $20 a month. So I've paid the $20 a month. Let's go in and take a look around. Okay, let's sign up for a label account. So I'm entering my email here, and you can do this by just going to bandcamp.com/labels, and then there's a sign up section. So the label account costs $20, as we discussed, at minimum. If you have more artists, it goes up. So I'm entering my email, my password. Now we're gonna have a label name. So let's call this label CD Records. And there, it's already generating a custom URL. Actually, it's not a custom URL. This is just a normal subdomain from Bandcamp, and we can customize it later. And we're going to say I'm from Toronto. I have read the agreements, and let's sign up. Let's check this out. Okay. Welcome, CD Records. This is your dashboard. Okay, here we go. Cool. Now that we've registered our account, we are in our homepage. This is our new label. Let's go ahead and add a label photo. So I'm just going to add it. There we go. We got a logo. Let's add a label bio. This should be easy to do. This might be a good place to have like your motto or your slogan. Okay, so here's some cool options. So we can add an album, and we're going to use this if we were to do a compilation, because the artist would be CD Records. Although you could change the artist name by clicking here and say you wanted to change the artist name. You could add an album that's only available on your label account. And so you would do this a lot for compilations or things that are exclusive to your label and not available on the artist's own Bandcamp page. Because the goal of this is to make records available, to have all of the artists on your roster have their own Bandcamp account and a Bandcamp page. So their name.bandcamp.com that links back to their record label, which would be your record label.bandcamp.com. And so the goal is to have them have all of your artists have their own Bandcamp account, but all of those records that are under your label link back to your label account and are also available on your label account. But in some cases, you might create a record or a single that's only available on your label Bandcamp and not on the artist's individual Bandcamp pages. Let's back out of here. We're going to stop doing this, and we're going to show you how easy it is to add an artist. There's two ways you can add an artist. You can add a brand new artist. So you can say that this is brand new band and they are from Seattle. Great idea. And I know how to spell it. Then their genre is experimental. And so their tags would be experimental. Look, brand new band.bandcamp. That's available. Isn't that crazy? What if I were to say brand new? Oh, maybe it's not available. I thought it would tell me in real time. Here's what's cool too. You can hide your artist. So we have brand new band. And let's say we've signed them, but we haven't announced the signing yet. And their debut EP is coming out on our label, but we don't want anyone to know about it yet. We're just setting it up. So you would go hide. So here's my brand new band. You would use this feature when I clicked add and then new artist. You would use this feature when the artist is a brand new band and they don't have their own Bandcamp page. So that's why I've done that. So now they have their own Bandcamp page. You click on this, it will take you to their page, which as you can see up here, it says brandnewband.bandcamp.com. However, they don't have any music yet. They don't have an artist profile. So let's back out of here. But we have essentially created a new artist page, a separate Bandcamp page for one of the artists on our label. And we can give them access by entering their email address. So we can now give their management or whoever is managing their band or the band members access to see their own statistics and to upload albums that may not even be attributed to the record label. So they could create their own page and help manage that page. Okay, so I've just added a banner that I've made in Photoshop, and this is 100 pixels high. It's 975 wide, which is what it has to be, and then it's 100 pixels high. So you could go much higher than this. You go up to 180, but here's what it looks like at 100 pixels high. I used a white background so it all kind of blends together. This is just a made up record label I made, but don't steal it because I actually kind of might want to do it one day. A CD only record label could be fun. Now let's see about adding existing artists, which I think is a really, really cool feature. So not only can we add existing artists, but we can actually select which items specifically we're going to have exclusive access to or simultaneous access to as a record label, and that all the money from these records are going to come from us. I just typed in my friend's band. So imagine if you're a record label and you're signing one of your friend's bands who already has a Bandcamp profile, or you're signing a band that you found on Bandcamp and they already released an album, maybe you want to re-release it. You can just type in their name, as I've done here. I've typed in my friend's name, Math Club, and you would click on, because you wouldn't know the password unless the band gives you access to the password. You would click request access from the artist, but in some cases they may want to share their password with you. That works too. I can hide this artist if I'm setting it up, but I haven't announced it yet, or let's say I want to announce it right away. This is my friend's band. I'm not going to click next because he'll get an email and he'll be like, what is this about? But I could say, let's say I signed him just for this, because look, he released it on compact disc. How awesome is that? So I could select just this album, or I could select all of them, or I don't have to select any. I could just add an artist, and we're going to add a title to their account later. But let's say I want to collect this, and then if I click next, it will add this artist to my page, and it'll say that it's waiting for their authorization or that they've been invited. But I'm not going to do that because it's my friend's band, so I don't want to do that. Had I selected them, it would show up here as one of our artists. So that's 3 ways you can add a title or add an artist. You can add just an album or a track or a piece of merch. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so we're adding merch. Or do we want to add it to one of our bands? No, we're going to add it just to the label. And then my location, let's say we're in the United States, and don't charge sales tax. Okay. And then so we select what it is. It's going to be a t-shirt. And then this looks a lot like how it does on just a regular artist account. If an artist already has an existing account, make sure you link that. If the artist doesn't want to link it, then probably what you would maybe want to do, let's say they don't want to link their account to you and they just want their upcoming album that they're releasing on your label to be released on your label and not on their Bandcamp page, then you would just add it as a regular album like we talked about at the beginning. And so are we adding an album to an artist account? No, we're just going to add an album to the CD Records account. For example, if it was a compilation, but we're not going to make it a compilation. It's still going to work out fine because we're going to say this is the band's name and then we're just going to add an album like normal. Okay, I want to try something just as an example. So we're on the record label page right now. If I were to click on first compilation, as you notice, there's no artist name under here. That's because it belongs to the record label. But let's make a change and see what that looks like. Remember, this album is only available on our label page. It's not available on any individual artist page. But let's say we want to make it from our new band called Brand New Band. So we're going to update that. And now we're going to go back to viewing our site. And look, it's now added the artist name under here. So even if we have albums on our record label page that have a different artist name, so if somebody were to download this and enter it into their iTunes collection, it would be filed under that band name instead of our record label name. If we were to go back and change that and remove that, it would go back to CD Records. And then when they were to download it and add it to their iTunes library, the artist name would be CD Records. You can use this feature called Exclusive Embed if you want to share it ahead of time with members of the press. So let's say, where can this say that we're making a exclusive embed for Pitchfork? They give an example here as Pitchfork. So it can work on Pitchfork. We're also going to say it's going to work on my own website in case I put it on a press page. I don't have that actual website. Let's say it's also going to be available on Stereogum. I'm thinking very positive here that we're going to get a lot of press. One of the really cool things about Bandcamp label accounts, and I've just clicked on my profile picture in the top right corner, and I've clicked on Tools. And now you see this page here, and I wanted to bring your attention to the sales section, which is the revenue reports. And if you're familiar with an artist page, you get a much simplified accounting export options, which would be things like basically you can export all your sales, you can have some buyer details or just item details, but there isn't as much specifications like you're seeing here. So one of the questions I've had before is sometimes people will ask, can you do royalty splits? Like DistroKid does a royalty split where if you have 3 bands on your label, maybe Bandcamp could pay them for all of their sales and leave out the label. It doesn't work like that. You can't do that on here. All of the money will come to you, but you can filter by certain time periods. You can filter by just an artist. You can filter by physical items or digital items. For example, if a record label takes a different percentage off of digital items versus physical items. And there's a few more nuanced options that you get here. You can't have the artist pay directly from Bandcamp because if you were going to do that, then what's the sense of having that album on your label account, right? Remember when we added an existing artist, we selected which albums were now part of our label, which albums do we as a record label have the rights to collect money from. And so the whole goal is that we collect the gross revenue as a record label from those records. We deduct any recoupable expenses that we've agreed upon with the artist, and then we split it. If it's a 50-50 split with the artist, then we split it. And so that accounting happens on our end using our own spreadsheet system or using a platform like Infinite Catalog, where the record label is responsible for doing the splits. So if there is any questions out there about can Bandcamp just pay the artist directly 50% and we keep 50%, the answer is at this time, no. So I couldn't go too deep into creating a label account here because I don't have any artists or any music to add to it, but at least it gives you an advanced preview into the back end before you start paying $20 a month. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. It's kind of an interesting little back end. There's some cool things. You have to decide if that's right for you. As a record label, there's lots of different options. I have lots of different videos out there, but that's what Bandcamp for labels looks like. If you want more resources, some free downloads, and some different things on the topic of Bandcamp for record labels, go to otherrecordlabels.com/Bandcamp. And this episode was actually taken from a bigger Bandcamp course that we have called Bandcamp for record labels. And you can find out more about that at otherrecordlabels.com.